The Republic of Tatarstan is a Russian federal subject located in the Volga Federal District. The administrative center is Kazan. The titular nation of Tatarstan is the Tatars. Tatarstan is one of the most historically rich and economically significant republics within the Russian Federation, a place where Turkic, Islamic, Slavic, and Eurasian traditions have blended for more than 1,000 years. Located in the middle Volga region at the confluence of the Volga and Kama rivers, it occupies a natural crossroads between European Russia, the Urals, and the steppelands stretching toward Central Asia. The terrain is mostly rolling plains, fertile river valleys, forests, and agricultural lands rather than mountains, which has made the region well suited for settlement, trade, and state formation since ancient times. The core indigenous people of the Republic are the Volga Tatars, a Turkic-speaking people whose ancestors include the medieval Volga Bulgars, Kipchak nomads, and other steppe populations. Islam was adopted by the Volga Bulgars in the 10th century, making Tatarstan one of the oldest Muslim regions in present-day Russia. Even after later political changes, Islamic scholarship, trade networks, and urban culture remained strong in the Volga region. Kazan, today's capital, grew into a major cultural and commercial center long before it became part of the Russian state. The turning point in the region's history came in 1552 when Ivan IV of Moscow conquered the Kazan Khanate. This event integrated the Volga heartland into the expanding Russian state and reshaped Tatar society. Mosques were destroyed or restricted in earlier periods, Orthodox Christian settlement increased, and the Tatars were gradually incorporated into imperial structures. Despite pressure and periodic repression, Tatar identity, language, and Islam survived. Over time, Tatars became prominent merchants, scholars, and intermediaries between Russia and the Muslim world, contributing significantly to imperial trade and intellectual life. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Tatar society experienced a cultural revival known as Jadidism, which emphasized modern education, reform of religious institutions, and engagement with global ideas. Tatar language publishing flourished, and Kazan became one of the leading centers of Muslim intellectual life in the Russian Empire. These movements laid the groundwork for modern Tatar national consciousness. Under Soviet rule, Tatarstan was reorganized as the Tatar Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic. The Soviet period brought rapid industrialization, urban growth, mass education, and expanded infrastructure. At the same time, religious institutions were suppressed, and many cultural elites faced repression. Russian migration increased, making the republic ethnically mixed, with Tatars and Russians forming the two largest communities. Despite ideological pressure, the Tatar language and identity remained relatively resilient compared to many other minority regions in the USSR. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Tatarstan pursued a distinctive path within Russia. During the 1990s, it negotiated a high degree of political and economic autonomy, positioning itself as a semi-sovereign republic within the federation. Although later reforms reduced this autonomy, Tatarstan has continued to enjoy strong regional institutions, relatively stable governance, and a reputation for pragmatic political leadership. The republic is often cited as an example of comparatively successful coexistence between Muslim and Orthodox Christian populations. Economically, Tatarstan is one of Russia's most developed regions. It possesses major oil reserves and a strong petrochemical sector centered around companies such as Tatneft. The Republic also has advanced manufacturing, including automotive production, aircraft engineering, and high-tech industries. Agriculture remains important in rural areas, supported by fertile soils and favorable climate conditions compared to much of northern Russia. Kazan has emerged as a major educational, technological, and sporting hub, hosting universities, research centers, and international events. Culturally, Tatarstan maintains a vibrant bilingual environment. Tatar and Russian are both official languages, and signage, education, and media reflects this dual identity. Islamic life has revived strongly since the 1990s, with new mosques, religious schools, and cultural institutions, while Orthodox Christianity remains visible through historic churches and monasteries. Kazan's skyline itself symbolizes this coexistence, with the Kol Sharif Mosque and the Orthodox Annunciation Cathedral standing side by side within the Kremlin complex. Tatar literature, music, cuisine, and festivals remain central to everyday life. Traditional foods such as echpochmak, chakchak, and kistibi reflect steppe and Volga influences, while folk music and modern Tatar pop culture continue to evolve. Education in the Tatar language, though sometimes politically sensitive, remains an important part of cultural preservation efforts. Tatarstan's identity is shaped by its role as a bridge between worlds: Islamic and Christian, Turkic and Slavic, European and Eurasian. Its long history of statehood, trade, religious learning, and cultural adaptation has produced a society that is outward-looking, commercially minded, and relatively confident in its distinctiveness. In modern Russia, Tatarstan stands not only as an economic powerhouse, but also as a living example of how deep historical traditions can coexist with modern urban life and multicultural complexity. Like, comment, and share to support this channel. Subscribe for more hidden corners of the world.